Ambe Steels, J Bancha, Diko Bancha. Real, Jamghar Jahan, Real Party Pack Tyahan.
Proud to be associated with Kantipur News.
As the Israel-Iran conflict intensifies, its shockwaves are being felt far beyond the Middle East. Countries across the region are grappling with rising instability, and among those bearing the brunt are Nepali nationals working and living in the two nations. Tonight, representatives from the Ministry of Labour and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will speak exclusively with us to address the growing fears, outline the government's response, and discuss urgent steps being taken to ensure the safety and dignity of Nepali nationals caught in this escalating crisis. Good evening, I am Aprila Ghising Lama. These are the headlines of the hour. Hundreds of education consultancies operating across Nepal without registration. Concerns about fraud, student exploitation and human trafficking under the guise of student visas grow. Rashtriya Swatantra Party lawmakers attend parliamentary session with blue ribbons as a show of protest. Nepali Congress demands their expulsion, citing inappropriate conduct. US President Donald Trump says he is looking at better than a ceasefire between Israel and Iran after warning people earlier to evacuate Tehran. Comments come after his early departure from G7 summit. And Nepal to face host Scotland in its second match on the ongoing Tri-Nation T20I series. Nepal ready for a fresh challenge after a thrilling super over loss against the Netherlands. Welcome back. Plenty of promises for guidance, structure and a ticket to a better future, but many education consultancies operating across Nepal are doing so without legal registration. And as the number of students going abroad surges, so too do concerns about fraud, exploitation and even human trafficking under the guise of student visas.
A stroll through Kathmandu's Bagh Bazaar, Putali Sadak or Baneshwar and you'll see them everywhere. Posters, banners, hoardings, all offering to help students pursue higher education overseas. In some buildings, you'll even find a dozen consultancies running under one roof. They send students to countries like the US, Korea, Australia, Japan, the UK and Canada. In return, they charge over 100,000 rupees from each student and take commissions from foreign institutions. According to the Nepal Educational Consultancy Association, there are nearly 5,000 such agencies operating in the Kathmandu Valley alone. But shockingly, more than 3,000 of them are unregistered and operating illegally.
शिक्षा ऐन 2028 अन्तर्गत रहेर दफा 16 को ढले स्वीकृति बिना सञ्चालन गर्न नपाइने भनेर रहेको यो पेशा मध्येमा रहेको हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ यसरी चाहिँ यो स्वीकृति नभएकोलाई हामी चाहिँ अवैधानिक हो भन्न चाहन्छौं 5-6 हजार लगभग चाहिँ अवैधानिक भएर चलिरहेको देखिन्छ हामीले भनेका छौं राज्यले कानुन बनायो त्यो कानुनको हुबहु पालना गर्दियो त्यो कानुनको पालना गरिरहँदाखेरि हामी त्यो कानुनलाई पालना गर्ने मर्यादित बनाउने यो पेशालाई व्यवस्थित र पारदर्शी बनाउनलाई हामी राजी छौं र नेपाल सरकारलाई सहयोग गर्छौं भनिरहेका छौं तर राज्य नतमस्तक भएर बसिरहेको छ सुनिरहेको छैन
किन समस्या यो प्रणालीमा कहीं समस्या छ उ जाने प्रक्रियामा समस्या छ भने त्यसलाई पो हेर्ने हो त त्यहाँ गलत छ भने कारबाही गरौँ न कसैले गलत ठाउँमा पठाएको छ भने मिलेर कारबाही गरौँ तपाईले गर्नुस् न हामीले गरिरहेछौं भने हामीलाई नि कारबाही गरौँ मन्त्रीज्यूले धेरै मिडियामा गएर भन्नु पर्दैन हामीलाई पनि बोलाउने हामी एसोसिएसन हो हामी जस्तो मान्छेहरुलाई त्यहाँ बोलाएर राख्ने र गलत गर्नेलाई कारबाही गरौँ यो फलानुले गलत गरेको छ प्रमाण भेट्यो उनीहरुलाई कारबाही गरौँ भन्दाखेरि त अझ बढी सजाय दिनुपर्छ भनेर म इक्यानको प्रेसिडेन्टको क्यापेसिटीमा म भन्छु
By law, any agency providing foreign study consultation, language training or test preparation must be registered with the Ministry of Education. But right now, nearly 4,000 consultancies are operating without that requirement. Among the 1,473 officially registered, only 687 renewed their licenses this year. Still, there has been no strong action. Even with these numbers in plain sight, the ministry's regulatory mechanism remains absent.
प्रक्रियामा रिन्यूको प्रक्रियामा आउन भनेर लिस्टेड 926 वटा मध्ये यदि रिन्यूमा आउनु भएन तोकिएको निर्धारित समयभित्र भन्देखि त्यो चाहिँ इलिगल रूपमा या गैर कानुनी रूपमा सञ्चालन भएको भन्ने मानिन्छ र तिनीहरूको सञ्चालन बन्द हुन्छ पहिलो कुरा र मैले अघि भने 1473 वटा साबिकमा अनुमति लिएर सञ्चालनमा थिए तिनीहरूलाई पनि हामीले रिन्युअलको प्रक्रियामा एकचोटी खोल्यौं र उहाँहरू आएन र अहिले पनि फेरि अन्तिम पटक तपाईँको खोलेर उहाँहरूलाई एउटा नियमनको प्रक्रियामा ल्याउन सकिन्छ कि भनेर शिक्षा मन्त्रालय चाहिँ के भनेदेखि अहिले पनि क्रियाशील छ। त्यसो गर्दा पनि आउँदैन भने ती संस्थाहरू गैर कानुनी ठहर्छ र कहीँ कतै बजारमा ती संस्थाहरूबाट सेवा प्रदान गरिएको भए त्यो गैर कानुनी हो, कारबाही योग्य हो र कानुनी दण्डको दायराभित्र ती संस्थाहरू आउँछन्।
Driven by the hope of both higher education and job opportunities, more students are going abroad, but that also opens the door to abuse. Recent years have seen a rise in trafficking and exploitation cases linked to student visas. Last year alone, 112,900 students received study abroad permits. Over the past decade, more than 640,000 have left Nepal for education. Many of them, however, were sent through illegal channels, raising serious risks and pushing the government to temporarily halt permits to countries like South Korea.
प्रक्रियामा रिन्युको प्रक्रियामा आउन भनेर लिस्टेड 926 वटा मध्ये यदि रिन्युमा आउनु भएन तोकिएको निर्धारित समयभित्र भनेदेखि त्यो चाहिँ इलिगल रूपमा या गैर कानुनी रूपमा सञ्चालन भएको भन्ने मानिन्छ र तिनीहरूको सञ्चालन बन्द हुन्छ पहिलो कुरा। र मैले अघि भने 1473 वटा साबिकमा अनुमति लिएर सञ्चालनमा थिए, तिनीहरूलाई पनि हामीले रिन्युअलको प्रक्रियामा एकचोटि खोल्यौँ र उहाँहरू आएन र अहिले पनि फेरि अन्तिम पटक तपाईँको खोलेर उहाँहरूलाई एउटा नियमनको प्रक्रियामा ल्याउन सकिन्छ कि भनेर शिक्षा मन्त्रालय चाहिँ के भनेदेखि अहिले पनि क्रियाशील छ। त्यसो गर्दा पनि आउँदैन भने ती संस्थाहरू गैर कानुनी ठहर्छ र कहीँ कतै बजारमा ती संस्थाहरूबाट सेवा प्रदान गरिएको भए त्यो गैर कानुनी हो, कारबाही योग्य हो र कानुनी दण्डको दायराभित्र ती संस्थाहरू आउँछन्।
This year, students have already sent 1.12 trillion rupees abroad. That's up from 1.04 trillion last year. But one of the many questions that lingers is who will take responsibility if cases like those in India's KIIT University repeat. Without urgent regulation and enforcement, thousands of students remain vulnerable, and the industry continues to operate in a legal grey zone.
It is time for our segment, Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's today's question. What actions should be taken against educational consultancies operating without a registration? Your options are A. Bring under legal jurisdiction, B. Immediate closure, C. Make regulators accountable, or D. No comment. Visit www.kantipurtv.com or www.ekantipur.com to share your opinion with us. Now moving on, Rashtriya Swatantra Party RSP lawmakers attended today's parliamentary session wearing blue ribbons, continuing their call for the formation of a probe committee to investigate the visit visa case. The ruling Nepali Congress raised objections with Chief Whip Syam Ghimire, demanding the expulsion of the RSP lawmakers, accusing them of inappropriate conduct within the House.
यो संसदमा अहिले केही माननीय सदस्यहरूले यो जुन स्कार्फ लाउँदै लाएर आउनु भएको छ यो मर्यादित पोशाक भित्र पर्छ कि पर्दैन? माननीय सम्माननीय सभामुख महोदय, यस्तो किसिमको व्यवहार गर्ने माननीय सदस्यहरूलाई सभामुखले चेतावनी दिने र संसदबाट निष्कासन गर्ने व्यवहार कारबाही पनि गर्न आवश्यक छ भन्ने कुरा म सम्माननीय सभामुख महोदयको ध्यान आकर्षण गर्न चाहन्छु। धन्यवाद।
At the start of the session, RSP lawmakers reiterated their demand for an investigation into the visit visa issue.
जहाँसम्म माननीय गृहमन्त्रीज्यूको राजीनामाको कुरा हो, हामीले उहाँलाई अपराधी भनेका छैनौँ, तर विवादास्पद अध्यागमन प्रमुखको नियुक्ति, उनलाई अख्तियारको छानबिनबाट जोगाउन एक दिनमै सरुवा गर्नु, कारबाही प्रक्रिया अघि बढाएका व्यक्तिलाई मन्त्रालयमै फर्काउनु र अख्तियारका पत्रहरूको व्यवस्था गर्नु, यी सबैमा प्रश्न त उठेकै हो नि सभामुख महोदय।
Previously, amid protests from both Rashtriya Prajatantra Party and RSP Speaker Devraj Ghimire had proceeded with conducting House sessions. Meanwhile, ruling party Nepali Congress has called emergency meeting of Central Committee for 8:30 p.m. on Wednesday. It is time now for a short break. We have more news coming up. Welcome back. The Asian Development Bank has launched its new country partnership strategy for Nepal covering 2025 to 2029. The plan aims to drive inclusive, green and job-intensive economic growth as Nepal moves toward graduating from least developed country status. The strategy focuses on three priorities: private sector-led green transformation, quality human capital and public services, and climate resilience. ADB will support Nepal through investments in infrastructure, skills, and regional trade, while boosting resilience to disasters and climate change. It is aligned with Nepal's 16th five-year plan and the government's Green, Resilient, and Inclusive Development (GRID) approach. ADB plans to mobilize about $2.3 billion in concessional financing and additional resources through co-financing, green bonds, and innovative funding tools. Jointly developed with the World Bank Group, the CPS strengthens collaboration to maximize impact, ensuring Nepal's growth benefits all segments of the society. Now, the family of a victim in the Rotah bombing case has lodged a formal complaint with the Judicial Council calling for action against the judges who acquitted one of the main accused, Muhammad Aftab Alam. Sri Narayan Singh Rajput, father of Trilok Pratap, who lost his life in the incident, filed the complaint alleging that the judges failed to perform their duties with integrity and acted with ill intent while clearing the accused of all charges. He has demanded the highest level of disciplinary action against the concerned judges. Singh claims that the case had sufficient evidence to convict Alam and has raised serious concerns over the conduct and competence of High Court Birganj judges Khushi Prasad Tharu and Arjun Maharjan, who issued the acquittal. The Rotah bombing occurred during the 2064 Constituent Assembly elections, and since then Singh has consistently sought justice for his son and other victims. Now, Nepal's provincial governments have placed a strong emphasis on health in their budgets for the upcoming fiscal year, unveiling a range of initiatives aimed at improving access, infrastructure, and specialized care across the country.
The Koshi provincial government has allocated 62.5 million for equipment and human resources to expand services in hospitals. The provincial government has launched the My Health, My Responsibility campaign. It has been announced that mental health services will be expanded in all hospitals under the province, targeting individuals or communities with psychosocial problems. For the overall expansion of health services, Koshi province has earmarked 3.517 billion.
नियमित प्रयोगमा आउने र आकस्मिक अवस्थामा आवश्यक पर्ने बफर स्टक तथा निशुल्क वितरण गर्ने औषधि खरिदका लागि 3 करोड 61 लाख विनियोजन गरेको छु। खोटाङ जिल्लामा निजी क्षेत्रको साझेदारीमा जडीबुटी उत्पादन तथा प्रशोधन केन्द्र स्थापना तथा सञ्चालन गर्न 3 करोड विनियोजन गरेको छु।
Madhesh province has announced a budget of 6.45 billion Nepali rupees for the Ministry of Health and Population. In collaboration with local governments, the province will implement the Chief Minister's door-to-door health service program. Awareness campaigns on natural medicine will be launched. Major infrastructure developments include the construction of a trauma center in Sirahas Gold Bazar, a regional maternity center, and a mental hospital in Mahottari. The Gandaki provincial government has put forward slogans like Healthy Heart, Beautiful Future, and identification and treatment of non-communicable diseases, the basis of a healthy life. The Gandaki government has allocated 15.2 million Nepali rupees for programs to identify, treat and manage non-communicable diseases and enhance mental health awareness. They have also announced plans to control communicable diseases, tuberculosis, leprosy, and HIV/AIDS. Likewise, 20.7 million Nepali rupees has been allocated for disease response plans, medical kits, and other medicinal supplies for diseases like malaria, Kala Azar, and dengue. The Gandaki government has earmarked 3.327 billion Nepali rupees for the Ministry of Health. The Bagmati provincial government, on its part, has announced plans to implement initiatives focused on specialized healthcare services. These include developing the infrastructure of provincial hospitals and deploying specialist doctors to remote areas. In Bagmati, the concepts of one district, one health city, and one local level, one model health institution program will be put into action. Furthermore, the One School, One Nurse program will also be continued. The Bagmati province's Ministry of Health has been allocated 3.968 billion Nepali rupees.
जन्मजात स्वास्थ्य समस्याको निशुल्क परीक्षण र उपचार गरिनेछ। बाल बालिकालाई विद्यालयमा श्रवण दृश्य दन्त प्रशिक्षण गर्न भविष्यमा हुन सक्ने बाथ रोग र मुटु रोगको निशुल्क स्क्रिनिङ गर्न आवश्यक व्यवस्था मिलाएको छु।
The Lumbini provincial government has allocated 120 million Nepali rupees for the purchase of health equipment and 30 million for medicines to be distributed free of charge. 100 million has been earmarked for the Safe Motherhood campaign to reduce maternal and neonatal mortality rates. Subsidies of up to 200,000 per person for heart valve and kidney transplants and cancer treatment have been continued. Lumbini province has allocated 4.95 billion rupees for the Ministry of Health. The Sudar Paschim provincial government has allocated a budget for upgrading services like laboratories, emergency services and surgeries in all provincial hospitals under the Chief Minister's Health Sector Improvement and Nutrition Security Program. In Kailari and Kanchanpur, arrangements have been made for the identification, diagnosis and treatment of diseases such as sickle cell anemia, thalassemia and hemophilia. The Karnali provincial government has announced plans to develop Surkhet Provincial Hospital into a health science academy, launch a campaign to enroll all provincial citizens in the health insurance program, and enhance the effective supply management of essential medicines, quality health materials, and equipment in all districts. 10 million Nepali rupees has been allocated for treatment assistance to patients suffering from chronic diseases like cancer, heart conditions, kidney ailments, and Alzheimer's. Karnali province has allocated 5.77 billion Nepali rupees for the Ministry of Social Development. For Kantipur News, a report by Kripal Gautam.
It is time for Sports Update.
Sports News.
Nepal will face host Team Scotland today in its second match of the ongoing Tri-Nation T20 series. After a thrilling Super Oval loss against the Netherlands, Nepal is ready for a fresh challenge. The match, which will take place in Glasgow, is scheduled to begin at 7:45 p.m. Nepali time. Nepal is still in search of its first win in the tournament. In yesterday's match against the Netherlands, Nepal lost in the third super over after the game was tied. Chasing a target of 152 runs, Nepal matched the score, leading to a tie. The first two super overs also ended in ties, and Nepal was finally defeated in the third super over. Kiran Thagana and Rupesh Singh made their debut against the Netherlands, but their performances were not particularly impressive. Fast bowler Nandan Yadav, who helped take the match to the super over yesterday, has sustained a hand injury. It is still uncertain whether he will play today. Rizan Thakal could be his potential replacement. Scotland, on the other hand, will be aiming for a second consecutive win. In its first match, Scotland defeated the Netherlands by 39 runs. With 2 points from one match, Scotland currently sits at the top of the points table. As part of their preparation for the T20 World Cup qualifiers, Nepal will be looking to make a strong comeback. Now, before wrapping up, let's take a look into the top stories once again. Hundreds of education consultancies operating across Nepal without registration. Concerns about fraud, student exploitation and human trafficking under the guise of student visas grow. Rashtriya Swatantra Party lawmakers attend parliamentary session with blue scarves as a show of protest. Nepali Congress demands their expulsion, citing inappropriate conduct. US President Donald Trump says he is looking at better than a ceasefire between Israel and Iran after warning people earlier to evacuate Tehran. Comments come after his early departure from G7 summit. And Nepal to face host Scotland in its second match of the ongoing Tri-Nation T20I series. Nepal ready for a fresh challenge after a thrilling super over loss against the Netherlands. That is all for the moment. Next up, we have our colleague, Ms. Rupa Khatka at 7 p.m. Keep watching Kantipur. Bye for now.